All right. Welcome back to video lesson 3. This is a module 4, and in the previous lesson we wound up looking at registers. I showed you how to work with the registers. We learned how to receive payments. Now in this lesson we're gonna start with something new, but before we dive into something new, I want to point out one or two things concerning registers, and then from there we are going to focus on account payable, where we're going to be dealing with our vendors. So let's go back for a minute to check register. So we click check register. Let's select the account. Let's pick a commercial bank, and then you click OK. Now I want to point out something here on the check register. What you notice is for every entry we have two rows. This row right here, the one that records the dates, and then this row down below it. Now you can adjust, or you can configure how you want your check register to look like. If you want a single line, all you need to do right now is come down to single line, this checkbox right here, and activate it. Right, once you activate it, you get a single line for every entry that you have. Right, so that is basically how you do it. If I deactivate it, what you're going to see is double line for every entry. So if you want to have a single line for every entry, all you need to do is just come right down here and activate this checkbox. There you go. So that's how you do it. That's what I wanted to point out. So I'm going to close this, and now we're going to shift our attention to vendors. Now right in the beginning we tackled vendors a little bit, and I want to point out a few things on vendors before we start carrying out transactions with our vendors. So let me point out a few things to vendors. Now to enter a vendor or edit a vendor, there are different ways that you can do that. You can go to vendor direct, or you can come to vendors right here. So either way, whether you use this icon, or whether you come to the menu and then go to vendors, or whether you come down here to the shortcut and you go to vendors, it all works the same. So any of those three methods can work. So we're going to go to vendor right here. I'll click there, and then you can see our vendors here. Now before I show you a number of things that we didn't tackle when we were dealing with the vendors, I want us to make some few changes. Okay, we're going to edit our vendors. So let's start with this vendor right here. So to edit a vendor, you click the vendor. You can actually double click the vendor to open the vendor window, or you can select the vendor and then come right here and click edit vendor. So whether you double click the vendor or you come right here and click edit vendor, it all works the same. So let's double click this vendor and then click OK to this new feature window, and here we are. We're going to change the names of these vendors, and let's just give them for the purpose of uniformity, we're going to have the vendors in small caps. So this is going to be Taylor, and let's give the full name. So that's Taylor Swift. That's the name of the vendor. Opening balance 0. Let's also edit this information. This is the vendor name, and then the vendor company. Let's call the company Taylor Tech. Okay, just make some adjustments here. We have Taylor Tech Inc. That is the vendor's company name. Now Taylor is Miss, right? And the first name is Taylor, right? And the middle name is Shift, and the third name is McDonald. Can actually change this name. Let's say it's Taylor Shift Peterson. Taylor Swift Peterson. We can make sure that we have full names here, so let's add that right there, Taylor Swift Peterson. And so let's adjust this one. The contact, let's just have we have a direct contact to this vendor. It's gonna enter the name again. So this is Taylor, right? Taylor S. Peterson. And there you are. So that's the phone number. The rest of the information is okay. Let's check. All right, this one is okay. Let's improve this address. This is gonna enter the company name and then the name of the vendor. So let's click edit and let's edit this right here. So this is a Taylor Tech, company name Taylor Tech Inc. And this is T, and then you have the name of the vendor, which is Taylor Peterson. You can ignore the middle name. This is a PO box, so I'm gonna have to adjust that one. And then we have a zip code. Actually, this one shouldn't be here, so I'm going to delete it. City, we're going to enter Mombasa, and then we're going to enter the address here. So PO box, and that's the box number. Zip code or postal code, we don't use this one, so we leave that one empty. For the note, we leave it blank. So that is it, and then you click OK, and then we have that adjustment right here. Now the billing address for this vendor is also the shipping address. So what we need to do is I'm gonna have to shift this billing address right here to the shipping address. So just click copy and you'll be shifted to the other side. Let's confirm that everything is okay. Let's click OK, and there it is. I'll just cancel that one. There you are. Now let's go ahead and look at additional information tab. We were on the address info tab, so let's go to additional info tab. I'll click right there. Then you can add some more information here. If this vendor has given us the account number, we can enter the account number right there. Okay, 555666 and here you can categorize your vendors. Okay, you can have different types of vendors. If I click right here, you can see you can have a vendor who is a consultant, you can have a vendor who is a service provider, you can have a vendor who is a supplier, the different types of vendors here. So if you want to categorize your vendor and be very specific on which category that vendor lies, then you can feed in that category right here on the vendor type. Now if you have any special terms with this vendor, like if they give you preferential terms when you do business with them, then you enter those terms here. If you remember something when we were dealing with and handling customers, we had this term 10%, 1% net, 1% 10 net, that which basically means if this vendor, for any billing that you have from this vendor, if the bill is due within 30 days and we pay in the first 10 days, then we get a discount of 1%. 2% 10 in it, that basically means any bill we receive from this vendor is going to be due within 30 days, and if we clear the bill in the first 10 days, then we receive 2% discount. So basically these are terms that you might have with this vendor. So if you have any special terms with this vendor, you can pick, like let's say this one, which basically means if we have any bill that we have for this vendor, normally the bills are due within 30 days, and if you pay the first 10 days, you get that discount. Now credit, if you have credit limit or with this vendor, then you can enter your credit limit there. Then you have the tax ID. Then let's go to account profile, and here we are. This one allows you to add some more information here if you want, associated with the accounts. Now we don't have to add everything here, so you can just leave that one as it is. Then we click OK. There you go. Let's also adjust or make some changes on this vendor. This time around, I'm going to select the vendor. I will not double click. I'll just use this button here to edit the vendor. So just click edit vendor. I'll click OK to this one, and here we are. So this is Sylvester Stanley, keep quiet. So let's have it in small caps. So that's going to be, sorry, small letters. That is going to be Sylvester. All right, Stanley, let's have it in small letters, and then we have keep quiet. Keep quiet, that is it. And the company name is Stanley Suppliers. And then this is Mr. This is Sylvester. And this is a Stanley, so the middle initial is S, and this is keep quiet. All right, let's make some adjustments here. Contact name, we need to type the name, Sylvester S, keep quiet, and the rest is good. We can adjust this one to, assuming that this vendor has an alternative contact, you can enter that alternative contact here. If the vendor doesn't have an alternative contact, just leave it. So just enter Sally Sylvester, and that is it. You have Stanley info.com, the official email. Then we will CC a copy to Charlie. And then let's change the name you want to appear on the check. We want to be the name of the company. So this is going to be Sylvester, or rather Stanley Suppliers. That's the name we want to appear on the check. And then let's approve this. This is going to be, I'll click edit. We're going to enter the name of the company, which is Stanley Suppliers. And then we have Sylvester. Let's add the name Sylvester as Keep Coach. Let's just have the two names, Sylvester Keep Coach, and then we can delete this. Then we have PO Box. That's it. City, we can have this one as Eldoret. Our country is Kenya. I think the rest is okay, and then you click OK. And now we're going to shift this address to the other side, the same address. Or if you do have an alternative or a different ship address, then you can enter a different ship address here. So let's have a different ship address. So I'm going to copy this one right there. Then I'm going to edit it so it's different from what we have here. Here, this is billing address. When we bill, we're going to be billing to the business. So I'm going to remove this name of no, let's retain the name. We're going to bill to Sylvester, so it's Sylvester. The name remains Sylvester Keep Coach. But when we ship the goods, we ship the goods from their business or from Sylvester's business. It's going to delete this one. The address is going to be slightly different. That means billing address here and the shipping address, they are different. This is going to be PO Box 245, and this business is actually located at Kitale. So there you go. So the shipping address and the billing address, they are different. Now we can go to additional info. We can enter the account number. If this vendor gives us an account number, we can enter their account number. Can you click right here, and if it's a supplier, we can pick suppliers. If you have any special terms in them, we can pick the special terms. If we have any credit limit, let's say we have a credit limit of 50,000 with this vendor, right? That means basically you can purchase goods at credit to the value of 50,000, right? So you enter the credit limit right there. The rest is account details, and we don't need actually to enter those details. So that is it. Then we click OK. There you go. Then lastly, let's come right here and let's edit this one. So I'm going to click this, actually double click, then I'll click OK. Let's make those changes. Now this is actually this vendor is an agency. This vendor is an agency for health insurance. So we're good to do is we're not good to enter a name there. Okay, we're good to remove the name and we're good to just enter the agency, which is National Health Insurance Fund. Insurance Fund, right? So we have done away with the name. Just enter the company or the agency name, National Health Insurance Fund, or we call NHIF. For this case, we can leave that one blank, and we get to leave this one blank. Good to leave this one blank. Let's see what happens when you do that. Contact. All right, contacts. It's going to be NIHF, right? The name is going to be NIHF. Just leave it blank. So NHIF, let's do away with that one. Contact's going to be nhif@info.com. That's the number. If they have a fax number, you can enter a fax number. If at all they have a fax number, the check will be printed to National Health Insurance Fund. So remember, this is not an actual supplier. This is our health insurance agency. So let's adjust this address. It's going to be National Health Insurance Fund, right? And then we got PO Box. PO Box. There you are. This is going to be Nairobi, and this is going to be Kenya. There you are. Okay, the same address, so we don't have actually shipping address, since this is this is an agency. So that is it. So I'm gonna click OK, and let's see whether the system will save this without these details filled up. Before we click OK, let's go to additional info. This is assuming this, we have the agency's account number type. Now this is actually not a tax agency but health insurance agency, so I can click add new, and let's call this one health insurance agency. This is the type of the vendor, health insurance agency. That is it, and then you click OK. There you go. So the name will appear right there. Now lastly, let's come to this vendor here, and I want to point out something very, very important. Remember how in one of the lessons previously we picked a vendor and associated that vendor with certain goods. That is I think that was computer supply. and then you just picked a vendor. We associate that vendor with the supply. Actually, that was kitchen unit. We associated that inventory with a very specific vendor. This is the vendor that we picked. That's why you notice that there's an opening balance, or there's a balance total on this vendor, because basically what this means is we bought from this vendor, right? Now when you open this vendor, you notice that this vendor is not an actual supplier, but this vendor is a tax agency, and so we associated those inventory with the wrong vendor. So we're going to do is we're going to change this vendor from being a tax agency. We're going to make him a normal vendor. Then we're going to add tax agency here as a vendor. So I'll click the vendor, and then we are going to edit. Now click OK on this one. Now that we associated this vendor with supply of goods, we're going to make some changes here. Rather than have the vendor as a revenue authority, we're going to make this one a normal vendor who's actually a supplier. Then we're going to create a new vendor for the tax agency here. So the name of the vendor is John McDonald, which is okay. What's their company name? We're going to call it Sunroom. Let's give their company a name. We're going to call it Sunroom Houseware, right? Or we can call Sunroom Limited. So that's the company name. The rest is okay. It's Mr. It's John. It's McDonald. The rest of the information is okay. We're gonna have to adjust this one, and this is a Sunroom Limited. So let's have this one corrected. Sunroom Limited. So that is it. The rest is okay. The billing address the same as shipping address. So I'm gonna have to copy this one, or just click copy, and then you get to copy it on the other side. This one seems to be okay, so just click OK, and there you are. So that is it. Additional info, this is going to be a supplier. So for the account number, if this vendor has given us an account number, we can type in 2.69874 and then categorize. Let's categorize these as a supplier. Okay, the suppliers with goods. We don't have any special terms in them. We don't have any credit limit with Sunroom Limited, so we click OK, and there you go. Now what you notice is that one will cause a little bit of a problem, because we associated our taxes to given vendor. So we're going to do right now is let's create a new vendor who is going to be our tax agency, and you can go to new vendor, or we can go right to multiple vendor and add vendor from multiple vendor. So when you click multiple vendor, which is another way of adding vendors, what you're going to get is a list of all your vendors. It will be like a worksheet that you can add more vendors there. So let's use this method. So just click add multiple vendors, and here we are. So I'm gonna click right here, and let's add a vendor. We're going to call this vendor, actually not going to give the vendor name. We're going to shift to this. All right, in this we have a required field. Let's show that this one work. So going to shift here, and you're going to enter Kenya revenue Authority, and this is the agency we pay our taxes to, Kenya Revenue Authority. Okay, they are neither Mr. or Mrs. No first name, no last name. And let's enter KRA there. KRA. Right, then we can enter the phone number, which is 0756983 and then I can scroll right down here, and let's enter some more information. If we do have fax number, we can enter the fax number there. Let's just assume we have a fax number, and then alternative phone number. We have alternative phone number, we can enter it right there. Let's make this one, let's enter the country code here. It's going to be 254. Let's also adjust this one. It need to be 254 with the country code. So let's continue. No alternative contact. The email here is gonna be .ke, and that is the address, rather email address. And we have the email, and then you can enter the address. We have address 1, address 2. Now let's have address 1 as Kenya Revenue. It's going to be Kenya Revenue Authority. Kenya Revenue Authority. And that is it. PO box, where let's enter the PO box. This is going to be PO box and it's going to be in Nairobi. There you are. Let's see whether there's something else that you've missed out. This is in Nairobi, Kenya. And that is it. So I can now save the changes. Now, one vendor record have been saved. One vendor record have an error that need to be fixed before they can be saved. Click in each field with the red text to find out what the error is and make correction. Now we're likely to have an error where we didn't enter a given name here, this field right here. So let's just call it Kenya Revenue Authority. There we are. Then let's save. One vendor has been saved. Click OK, and that is it. So if we close this window and now come right here, you'll be able to see Kenya Revenue Authority. Now we'll double click it, and then you click OK, and let's associate this vendor. Let's go to additional info, and let's pick this type, and let's say this is a tax agency. There you are. No special terms, no credit limit. Everything seems to be okay. Address, let's see that there's anything that's missing. Print on check. The name we want to appear on the check. Let me pull this one up right here. The name we want to appear on the check is Kenya Revenue Authority. So I'm going to copy this one. So just highlight it. I'll press Shift and arrow key to highlight. Then I'll press Ctrl and C to copy. I'll click right here. I'll press Ctrl in the keyboard, hold it down and press C to paste that name right there. Same address. We don't have two addresses here, just one single address, and that's it. So we click OK. There we are. So what we've done in this lesson is make some few changes on our vendors. Now let me point out a few more things and then we're going to wrap up this lesson before we go to the next lesson. Now basically what you can see right here, let me show you. If I can try to resize this one, what's good to notice is you can attach something here. Okay, so let's say that there's a bill that I want to attach to this vendor. I've received the bill, I have scanned it, and I want to attach it to this vendor. I can just pick that bill from within the system and attach it. So let's say, for instance, I have a bill for Sylvester. If I double click right here, what the system will do is it will open my computer, and then I can decide where to pick the file from. If it's in my computer, I just need to come here. I'll click my computer, and here we are. I can now look for that specific file and make an attachment. This is not different from what we did in one of the lessons, as I showed you how you can attach a given attachment to one of the customer documents. So just double click here and I pick the document where it is, and then I click open and it will be attached to that vendor. You can try it. I can just click computer. I can pick this. Assuming the document or the scanned bill we want to attach to that vendor, then just click open. Alright, here it is. I'll click done. And then this icon is going to remain here, meaning that this is an attachment that is attached to this specific vendor. So that is it. That is how this works. So I'm going to pull this one back to that point. Now, lastly, before we wind up on this, what you notice here is you have print, and you can print a list of vendors. You can print vendor information. You can print vendor transaction. Excel. Now you can export all your vendors into Excel worksheet. I showed you how to do that. Specifically, I showed you how to export reports, invoice reports. You can also export vendor list. So let's say we want to have this list of vendors in an Excel worksheet. All you need to do is click export vendor list. Give the system some time. There you go. Like we did in the previous one of the lessons, you can you can export this into a new worksheet. Since we don't have any existing workbook that holds our vendors, go to export this one into a new workbook. So click create new worksheet, then I'll pick in a new workbook, then I'm going to click export, and QuickBooks is going to export all that data into worksheet. Once done, you're going to have the worksheet open, and here we are. So what you notice is here is all our vendors, and they are all active. Their status is active, the vendor name, the currency, the balance, all that information. Okay, it's been exported into QuickBooks worksheet. So that is exactly how you can export data or information or a report from QuickBooks to Excel worksheet. So I don't want to save this one. So what I'm going to do is sorry for this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this. Okay, I'm not going to save it or just close it. But if I want, I can save. Actually, let's save it. I'll just need to go to save. I'll click save. Then I can decide where I want to save it, and I can call it vendors. Actually, vendor list. There you are. So I'll click save, and then I have my list of vendors saved in Excel. So close this one, and we are done. So that is how you handle vendors, and that is how you deal with vendors. Now in the next lesson, I'm gonna look into how now to do transaction with our vendors. So what I want you to do is I want you to make the changes that you've made to our original vendors, and I want you to practice exporting a list of your vendors, all your vendors, into worksheet. Then you save your worksheet, and then in the next lesson we're going to pick from there, and you're going to take things to the next level. All right, so that is it. Practice that, make sure you get good at it, and I'll see you in the next lesson as we take our skills to the next level.